Set 14 is here, so in today's video we'll be breaking down 10 new comps for you to try. We're somewhat sad to see set 13 go, as it was a pretty epic set with some amazing units and traits, and the arcane theme just never gets old. But now it's time to forget all of that and start fresh once again with a ton of new units, a new mechanic called hacks, and loads more comps for you to play. All the comps featured in this video are now live on our website, so you can see the full guides there with more in-depth breakdowns about units, items, augments and everything else. So although playing new sets of tier T can be overwhelming, especially at the start if you didn't play the PvE, don't worry because we've got you covered. Just click the links below to check out the comps and get started. Let's kick it all off then with comp number 1, and that's going to be our Anima Armory. This is a vertical comp that plays around the Anima Squad trait, which gives you a new weapon with each trait threshold at 3, 5 and 7, and even a prismatic option at 10, which gives you even more options, including a train that pile drives its way through enemy boards. The full comp uses Aurora, Leona, Xayah, Yuumi, Renekton, Alawi, Jhin, Vayne and Sylas, and it's a fast 8 comp which plays around strong early game boards whilst building up a strong economy, so you can roll down to find and hit your 4 and 5 cost carries in Xayah, Leona and Aurora. Xayah is an AD caster, which means you want to focus on a Shojin to make her cast more often, an Infinity Edge for tons of damage, and a Last Whisper for shreds. For Aurora, she wants a Shojin and Jeweled Gauntlet for casts and damage, and then any third AP item, but we'd recommend Morello's as she spreads the anti-heal really well with her ability. For Leona, you can slam any strong tank items you find, but we'd recommend that classic combo of Warmogs, Bramble and Dragon's Claw if you do have the perfect components. For augments, look out for Anima Squad +1 emblems as well as the Anima Squad specific augments. You've got Support Spire, which buffs up your squad, or Power Leveling, which gives you more XP to reach those higher levels faster, as well as some scaling attack speed too. You can also go for those Econ augments too to help you reach those high levels faster, like Slamming, Patient Study or Level Up. The best part of this comp though is it's really flexible throughout all stages. Those animal weapons are really fun to play around, and you can slam whatever items you get because you have one of each type of carry. Remember, you can follow along with this comp in-game using our overlay, where we'll give you augment recommendations, we'll highlight the units you should play along the way so you don't miss any, and we'll also give you other useful tips inside the overlay guide section to help you come out on top. Next up, we have a comp that's likely to be a real fan favourite, the Executioners. Now this one is pretty similar to Ambushers from set 13, because it's all about those big melee damage carries. And this time round it uses the 3 cost Rengar and the 2 cost Graves, which both of these you'll want a 3-star so they can completely annihilate enemy boards. As well as these two, we also use Vex, Varus, Neeko, Urgot, Gragas, Echo and Alistar to pad your board out with a mix of traits to make those Executioners as strong as possible. Rengar wants a BT, Titans and Hand of Justice for a nice mix of burst and sustain, and Graves wants similar items with BT, Titans and QSS, so he doesn't get stunned up when he dashes onto backlines. After that, you can fill out the rest of your items on your secondary carries like the 3 cost ranged AP Executioner in Varus and the 4 cost one in Vex. For augments, Gargantuan Resolve is back as a forbidden augment which can now appear in hacked augment rounds, giving your Graves and Rengar both an empowered Titans, which makes them even more terrifying. You can also go for Executioner +1 emblems, allowing you to hit 5 Executioners sooner and raising the ceiling of this comp too. Executioners also have their own augment now called Cut Purse, which gives your Executioners a chance to drop gold when they crit, as well as also giving you a Rengar and a Graves, which can be a really easy way to set up a win streak if you hit this at stage 2-1. Aside from that, any reroll augments like Prismatic Ticket or artifact augments like Living Forge are also fantastic options when you play in this comp. Overall, the comp does have a fair few conditions to make it pop off to its fullest, but honestly hitting that Rengar and Graves 3 is the most important thing, and when you hit these, you'll see how insanely strong this comp can be. Next up, we have another super fun reroll comp for you guys to try, and this time it plays around the Syndicate trait and uses Twisted Fate and Darius as your main carries. The Syndicate trait gives you a stylish hat that you can place on your main carries, and this gives them a bonus buff that upgrades their ability. Alongside TF and Darius, you'll also use a bunch of other units to bolster your board, with Kog'Maw as another ranged attack speed carry, Braum, Shaco and Misfortune to activate 5 Syndicate, and Gragas, Aurora and Skarner as trait fillers. Twisted Fate wants tons of attack speed with double Rage Blades and then a Gunblade to heal up his tanks in front, and Darius wants those big tanky items as he'll be your main force leading the line here. So go for items like Sunfire, Warmog, Spark or Stoneplate if you have a Shiv elsewhere. Then for your secondary carries, you can also gear up your Cogmore with tons of attack speed too, and if 3-starred, he'll bring plenty of extra damage in this comp. For augments, Starry Night is definitely a no-brainer here, as you can 3-star loads of 1 and 2 cost units, including your main carries. And then the Syndicate specific augment, Keep Your Friends Close, buffs up this comp heavily too. Don't forget about those Syndicate emblems either, as this means you can drop a low-cost Syndicate unit like Shaco for a higher cost unit instead, or even potentially reach 7 Syndicate with 2 emblems, which is definitely a huge boost to this board's late game ceiling. So if you find yourself with an early 2-star TF and a Rageblade, lock in this comp because it is a ton of fun. Next up, we've got another vertical comp, and this time it's all about the Street Demons. So Street Demons paint hexes on the board which buff and boost up your units, and although it does get a little bit tricky sometimes with positioning, it can be really strong if you hit everything you need to. It's a fast 8 comp again that plays around the 4 cost carries in Brand and Nico, and the 5 cost Samira later up, which if you can 2-star her, you'll be well on your way to fighting for that first place finish. Alongside these, you'll be playing Ziggs, Rengar, Yuumi, Echo, Dr. Mundo and Zyra. Brand is your traditional AP carry, and he'll want a Spear of Shojin to keep him casting, and then lots of damage with a Jeweled Gauntlet and a Guard Breaker. Samira ideally wants a mix of burst and sustain, so an Infinity Edge and Hand of Justice are perfect alongside a Last Whisper for penetration. Then you have the 4 cost Nico as your main tank here, and she wants those big beefy items like Sunfire Cape, Stone Plate and Crown Guard. Strategists also play a big part in this board's strength alongside Street Demons, hence the name of this comp being Street Strats. This means you can go for either emblem here if you find them via your augments. Getting a +1 emblem of either trait gives you the opportunity to activate 7 Street Demons and 5 Strategists, which allows this board to cap out really hard in the late game, especially if you have managed to 2-star your carries. Alongside those emblems, keep an eye out for the 2 Street Demon augments in Freestyling and Tagging Spree, as well as any other econ augments to help you reach those higher levels faster, like Epoch, Patient Study or Slamming. The biggest thing about this comp is definitely that final win condition in a 2-star Samira. So don't just be donkey rolling at level 8, keep your board and your economy healthy, and you'll be painting your profile with LP before you know it. Okay guys, now for the really fun part, because it's time to reroll Fiddlesticks as your main 3-cost AP carry alongside a bunch of beefy bruisers around it. And for some reason, we've come up with the name BEEFSTICKS for this comp, and we absolutely love it. The full comp uses Fiddlesticks, Mordekaiser, Garen, Kabuko, Cho'Gath, Gragas, Darius, Rast and Dr. Mundo. In this level 7 slow roll comp, we'll be focused on 3-starring our main carry Fiddle, as well as our 2 3-cost bruisers in Mordekaiser and Gragas. Now ideally, you can itemize your Mordekaiser if he's 3-starred, but if he's contested, you can also go for Gragas instead. So Fiddlesticks wants a BT for sustain and an Archangels for scaling damage. Ideally, you'll also have an artifact item as his 3rd choice because he has a bunch of different items that are just insanely strong, like Blighted Jewel, Seeker's Arm Guard or Sniper's Focus. If you don't manage to hit any artifacts, you can also just slam a 2nd Archangels though, or even a Jeweled Gauntlet. Apart from that, you'll just be slamming as many tank items on your bruisers as possible, HP items being the priority with just how bruisers work with their HP. So aim for things like Warmogs and Sunfire, but honestly, you don't really need to be too fussy here. Later on into the game, you can also itemize Cho'Gath 2 with some more tank items, or Kabuko with some AP bruiser items like Crown Guard and BT. Or even if you hit the Gragas hero augment Chugbug, you can then itemize him instead too. But honestly, BEEFSTICKS can do most of the heavy lifting by himself. Speaking of augments, artifact ones like Living Forge will definitely be the most important ones to look out for here, as those artifacts we mentioned earlier on Fiddlesticks are just crazy strong. Then there's also Rigged Shop, which allows you to hit your 3-star 3-cost so much easier, or any general strong combat augments like Bulky Buddies or a movable object to make your frontline even beefier. There's also the bruiser specific Reinforcing Skeleture, which gives your bruisers permanent health throughout games every time they die. This comp will genuinely surprise you at how strong that BEEFSTICKS can be, so give it a go and let us know how you get up. Enough of the rerolling for now, let's move on to another vertical trait in Exotech. Exotech units gain 3 out of 7 unique items that can only be equipped by Exotech champions. Once equipped, the unit holding the item will gain health and attack speed for each item. This is a fast 8 comp, which is going to be picking up the lower cost Exotech units on the way to level 8, so we can then 2-star the main carries being Sejuani and Zeri. Alongside these, we have Jax, Neferi, Galio, Mordekaiser, Jhin, Varus and Renekton. For items, Zeri wants that double Rage Blade, which will stack up nicely with your 4 Bastion frontline, with a Gunblade being her last item to keep those Bastion friends topped up. Sejuani will take those tank items, and she works best with an Evan Shroud for Sunder and a Redemption followed by Sunfire Cape to burn down those opposing tanks. Then we have our secondary carry, which is another Exotech unit in Varus, and he'll take a Spear of Shojin for faster casts followed by a Jeweled Gauntlet and a Death Cap. Of course, you'll also want to make room for the Exotech weapons too. For Zeri, you want to look out for Flux Capacitor and Pulse Stabilizer, Sejuani loves that Repulsor Lantern or Corrupted Chassis, and lastly Varus prefers Hollow Bow or Hyper Fangs. For augments, we'd recommend you to go for the Exotech specific ones. An Exotech Crown or Crest will be really useful, as we can get rid of a lower cost Exotech unit for a high value 5 cost unit instead. Then there's Cyberdeck, which will make 3 Exotech units holding 2 items gain their ideal Exotech item, and last but not least, Trial Run. This will spawn a golem holding copies of your 3 Exotech items, and it'll also gain health and AD based on the star level of your Exotech units, so definitely one to watch out for. As we're going straight to level 8 when playing this comp, we can also look out for econ augments like Patient Study, Epoch and Slamming. This comp is a lot of fun and can be really strong if you get the right Exotech items, so give it a try. Now let's get on to our next comp, and this one's called A.M.P. FDW. So A.M.P. champions can upgrade their abilities in cool different ways with that trait bonus, whilst also gaining extra health too. We'll be playing this comp alongside Strategists to buff up our damage and give us some extra durability. This is another Fast 8 comp, with the main stars being Nico, Annie, Samira and Yuumi. Similar to Street Demons, if we can get that Samira 2-star with 3 items, we'll be in a great spot to fight for first place. Other units joining the PARTY will be Ziggs, Echo, Alistair, Kabuko and Garen. Our main 4-cost damage dealer here is going to be Annie, and her best items will be Blue Buff, Spear of Shojin and Nashor's Tooth. This build simply makes her a casting machine, pumping out huge DPS but also summoning Tibbers with every 4 casts, dealing extra damage but also giving you more frontline at the same time. Nico is going to take all your tank items, and she loves a Sunfire, Gargoyle Stoneplate and a Crown Guard. Then AD items can be placed onto Samira, and you'll definitely want that combo of Infinity Edge and Last Whisper alongside a Hand of Justice for sustain. If you get a spatula, you can also make this into a Strategist emblem so the whole gang can get extra durability or damage amp. When it comes to augments, A.M.Ps have a few special ones to look out for. Overclocked makes it so those A.M.P. units with 3 items gain an extra A.M.P. Transference makes A.M.P. champions that die give the nearest A.M.P. 1 amp till the end of combat, and you'll be able to do some really cool stuff with this one. Plus, you can also look out for a Strategist, Crest or Crown here too. As this is another Fast 8 comp, make sure you look out for those economy augments like Raining Gold, Epoch or Upward Mobility, as this will help us get to our power spikes a lot faster and get to those units before they get contested. If you want to get the win, get your 2-star Samira, get your Garen to Strategist mod up your units, and get those S-tier augments too, and you'll be well on your way to some A.M.P. LP. Okay, we're getting there guys, there's still a few more comps to go, and this one is our Cyberboss reroll comp, aka Boss Bastions. So this comp is all about the 4 Cyberboss units in Poppy, Vigar, Ziggs and Kabuko, alongside a wall of Bastions in the front line with Sejuani, Jax, Galio and Shyvana. We'll be rolling at 6 here with the priority to 3-star our Vigar plus any other units along the way, like the 2-cost tank in Shyvana and of course the 1-cost Cyberboss Poppy, before pushing higher levels to find and bring in our full board, including our 5-cost late game carry in Kabuko. Vigar definitely wants a blue buff most importantly, but then follow that up with a Nashor's Tooth to keep him casting and a Jeweled Gauntlet for damage. Then we can itemize our second AP Cyberboss carry in Ziggs with utility items like Shiv and Morello's alongside a Spear of Shojin. Kabuko works best with AP Bruiser items like Crown Guard and BT alongside a Bastion emblem if you do manage to find one. Then we can also slam all of our tank items onto Poppy or Shyvana depending on whoever we 3-star first. For augments, we definitely want to focus on the Cyberboss specific augment New High Score, which gives us cash outs upon reaching certain high scores, which basically guarantees we'll get those Ziggs and Kabukos alongside other rewards too. Then there's the other Cyberboss augment called Cower Weaklings, which buffs up your bosses and reduces enemies' max health by 20% when Cyberboss's abilities hit them. As well as those ones, keep an eye out for any Bastion +1 emblems, as this means we can lock in our full comp without needing level 9 to activate 6 Bastion with Renekton. Aside from that, you can go for some reroll augments to help you 3-star your Vigar easier, like Starry Night or Heroic Grab Bag, or generally strong combat augments or item augments like Line Up or Blue Battery. Up next, we've got our Guardsman comp, which rolls with a Marksman and Vanguard setup focused on a nice even split between a meaty frontline and a banging backline. Your main carries in this comp will be the 2 4-cost Marksmen in Aphelios and Xayah, and your main tank will be the 4-cost Vanguard in Leona, which means you'll be aiming to get to level 8 as quickly as possible to get these 4 costs online. Aphelios is an attack speed based AD carry in this comp, so he wants items like Rageblade, IE and Gunblade. Xayah on the other hand is an AD caster, so she wants Shojin and Infinity Edge, alongside a Giant Slayer or Last Whisper if you need the Sunder. Leona can take all of your big tanky ones in this comp, and we'd recommend things like Sunfire Cape, Redemption and Warmox. But don't forget about Evan Shroud if you don't have the Last Whisper. The most important thing when playing this comp is knowing how to play strong early boards and slam the right items ready for later on. But luckily there's lower cost Vanguard and Marksman units that makes this process much easier. For augments, we want to aim for Vanguard or Marksman +1 emblems first, as this makes playing this comp much more flexible and it increases its ceiling too. There's also the Flatline Marksman augment, which gives your Marksman an execute and more attack speed after executing their enemies, so it's a really strong combat option. Aside from that, you can't really go wrong with things like Shimmer Scale Essence for the econ and items, Pumping Up for some scaling, Glass Cannon for more backline damage, or things like Slamming to reach level 8 faster. Okay guys, now we're on to our final comp of the day, and this is one you'll definitely be seeing plenty of, which is Nitro. Nitro is your typical low cost reroll comp, and it actually has different variations you can play based on what the game offers you. In this one, we're going to be covering our Nitro Tech comp, which plays around Exotech units alongside Nitro. When playing Nitro, it's all about farming up your Chrome to buff up your additional unit, which can then turn into a T-Hex when fully powered up at 200 Chrome. Starring up your Nitro units will farm more Chrome, which means you can scale up and spike even faster and harder. The full comp in this variation includes Elise, Jhin, Shyvana, Sejuani, Neferi, Kindred and Nidalee. Jhin is going to be one of our main carries here, and he wants big AD caster items like Spear of Shojin, Infinity Edge and Deathblade. Elise will be our AP carry in this comp, and she wants a Shojin alongside Jeweled Gauntlet and Guardbreaker. And after that, you can just slam as many tank items as possible onto your 2-cost tank in Shyvana or your 4-cost Bastion later in Sejuani. For augments, there's 2 Nitro specific augments to watch out for in Polished Chrome and Spare Parts. Polished Chrome gives you extra buffs and gold when you 3-star your Nitro units, and Spare Parts gives you an extra Nitro turret that has 50% of your total Chrome. Alongside those, other S-tier augments will be any augments that allow you to 3-star your board easier, like Rolling for Days or Prismatic Ticket. You can also go for Max Cap to lock in your full board at level 7 and give you tons of gold to finish off your rerolling, or just go for strong combat augments like Piercing Lotus or Sword Overflow. So that wraps up our video all about 10 new comps for you to try in the new TFT set 14 Cyber City. There are so many more comps that we wanted to include, but if we did that, we'd simply be here all day. So instead, if you do want to see even more comps like Slayers, Boombots, Golden Ox and Strategists Reroll, just to name a few, head to our website and give them a go. We'll leave links to all the comps featured in this video below so you can check those out and let us know how you get on in the comments below. Thank you for watching guys, enjoy the set and as always, take care.